What no, 100%. Like I said, we kind of got away from it, but going back to it now, like what do you do? Like what's your job entail? What's kind of a day in the life of John?
A day in the life of John at CCOM is, I'll get to the office this morning. Like I said, my title is Business Development Representative. So I'm kind of the face for the credit union out in the community. And one thing I don't do is sales. Is I don't go to businesses and sell. But I'll kind of just business prospect in the morning. I log I have an Excel spreadsheet of all who I've talked to the past couple months, been on the job about 6 months now. And I list who I need to follow up with, who I'd like to go visit. I try to research owners of now we're talking local businesses, locally owned and operated. And I'm not out there to drop into AutoZone or JCPenney's and try to build relationships there. But what I'm out for is the local garage, construction, diesel repair. I do, the local little restaurant, even a little ice cream stand. Just always out and about in the community on a daily basis. I'll hit the road at about 9:30, 10, and come back about 3:30, 4. And in that time, I'm just out on the road. I'm very blessed to have the freedom of being able to all over Clinton County travel whatever I want to do. If I want to wait, come in the office and say, all right, I'm going to go down to Keysville today. I'm going to go down to Keysville. Or I'm going to shoot up to Champlain, Moores, Morris Forks area today. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm just out on the road a lot, building relationships with the community, dropping by, trying to meet the owner, just helping spread the word about the credit union. But when I first go into a business, I'm not like, hey, how's your guys' bank accounts? How's things going? This is the type of product we have, because that's an instant turnoff for a lot of people. They don't want to have someone coming through the door being pushy. Mm-hmm. So I'm just in there and I'll literally, hey, how's it going? I'm John with the credit union in Plattsburgh, and how's things going? I just like to do my best to meet a lot of locally owned and operated business owners such as yourself, and shoot the breeze for a minute. And how are you? And I've been pleasantly surprised at how friendly and the amount of hospitality that a lot of business owners have around here. Mm-hmm. My boss Jerry, he would mention, yeah, you're gonna be surprised.
Is that the guy that spoke?
Yes,
okay.
He spoke on another country.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Yeah, great guy, and really good role model for the position. He spoke. You're gonna be pleasantly surprised at how many people really, they're glad to have you. They'll thank you for stopping by, and I'll have people, on top of businesses that are already there, I'll also get the new DVA list from the county every month for the prior month of new businesses in the area, doing business as. And that involves, which is a little more, to a lot of people, and to me at first, it's a little more scary. I'm knocking on someone's actual doorstep. You're like, hey, notice he opened up, X, Y, and Z.
Bait and tackle or
Bait
something.
And tackle,
yeah.
exactly. Or with some artesian candles or something like that. I just want to be sure to drop by and wish you the best of luck. And how's things going? So what is it exactly? And a lot of people, except it was tough in the dead of winter, because that's really tough to do, because people open the door just a little bit. But now that the weather's nice, I'm so surprised, and it's so how welcoming people are. Like, hey, I've gone into people's homes. They'll open the door, they'll come out on their doorstep and talk to me and just say, hi, are things, what they'll talk to me about their business and what's going on and what is it exactly, and so then next thing you know, we'll talk for 20 minutes, and they're like, so you're with the credit union? And they're like, CCOM? They're like, where's that? And they had no idea who I even was. They forgot what I even came here for. Mm-hmm. But those past 20 minutes, I just established a good relationship for you. And then, hey, you know what? Maybe I might need a checking account, which, for every business you do or anything of that nature. And I have people all the time that ask me, so you'll be driving by, and you'll just drop into a garage on the side of the road, like a little mom and pop garage, and just drop in and say hi? I'm like, yeah. Like, wow, how do you do that? And I tell them, you know what? You just, in order to change and to grow and to become better, you got to get uncomfortable.
Oh, hell yeah.
And as you know, and at first, was that super uncomfortable? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Some positive self-talk and some old Tom Bull green, mm-hmm. before I get out of the car. Let's go in and do this, because we as humans, we're a little afraid of rejection. Mm-hmm. And I could walk in here and they could not want anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. But it's nerve-wracking, but now I really enjoy it. I actually love it. So just dropping in.
How many months now?
About 6.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Like you said, if you're going to the new businesses that have been only open for a month, that's a huge thing. You have someone stop by. You know what I mean? Like, I think it says a lot about, especially if you're, depending if you're small or even if you're a semi-big company, whatever. I think, but I mean, they're like, maybe not at someone's house, but they have a storefront or they have, like, but even just dropping in, like, in the first month, that's kind of cool for a new business up and running, because it's like, oh, yeah, thanks for stopping in, or we appreciate it, or, oh, you knew about us, that's awesome. And kind of what you said before, like, I remember it's different. I mean, I wasn't going, door to door like you were doing or for businesses, but talking to people on the phone, I was like, like you get jumbled, and it's kind of funny. I get some like new agents that I'm training, and I just, I'm sitting back, and I know the wheels are about to come off the car, or come off the track, and it's just like, I'm just gonna sit back and just watch them, because I did the same or worse, so you watch them, they talk too quick, they make a mistake, they ask something bad, they say something wrong, and it's like, you know what? You got better. Let's do the next one. You got better. And then it gets to the point where, like, now you showing up, like, you've heard so many stories that you are able to adapt to the conversation. You're able to adapt to the person. Because, like, I meet a lot of people. I've met a lot of different personalities. Some good, some bad. Some people I absolutely, I came from an appointment right before this. The people were phenomenal. It was so much fun. Like, I left and we were talking about God knows what. It had nothing to do with the business, like with work, but it was,
of course.
But then sometimes you're like painful, you want to get out, but every encounter makes you better and makes you learn. And I think that's, like you said, a valuable skill in the sense of now that you're 100% confident, you can pretty much roll up on anybody right now and you'll be able to talk and you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're really great at that as well. I mean, we've, kind of developed that. Prime example is, just today, I roll up on a garage and there's a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old working in there. I instantly got to know how to conversate with that, how to work. Man, they had brand new dirt bikes, and so so I'm like, all right, so I kind of get going with these guys. Look at, I'm a guy's guy.
Yep.
I'm like, hey, so which one you guys got when asked over tea kettle on one of these first, and they each point to the other one because there were skid marks on the new bike, and like, you see it right here. Yeah. This is where he got his ass kicked on the bike,
Yep.
And they started to love it. They're like, all right, this guy's like cool, but then I also have to know how to shift gears. Because if I'll drop into a lot of organizations and say, if I'm dropping into the North Country Mission of Hope, just to say hi, see how things are going, and that's a totally different conversation.
Oh yeah, yep.
That's a totally different conversation than if I'm dropping into the diesel mechanic shop, right? There's two totally different social.
Different lingo going around.
Different lingo going there, and there's different social cues going there, and there's going to be a different conversation had there. And through my job, I've just gained incredible experience, just picking up on social cues and figuring out how to extend a conversation. And you can tell, figuring out, okay, this person wants to chat for a little bit. I'm going to have to be the one that's, it's 45 minutes later, hour later. All right, I'll let you go now. Looks like you got to get back to work for the boss gets back. Or, okay, they're all set with me. They're, I've come in here, did my thing. I'm gonna let them go and follow up maybe a couple months later to see how things are going. But there's two, like we talked about, there's a much different way with the different crowd you have.
I think you when you talk about the boys with the dirt bike, I think the funny thing about that is when I first got in the business, man, I was so stiff, meaning I was like, I gotta act a certain way, I gotta talk a certain way. I mean, I was young, I was 20, and it was like, I had to act a certain way in this big professional business that I grew up hearing about because my dad did it, but I was like, I always felt that when I started that I was young, I didn't know what I was doing, I had to really like stay in line, not get out. Now, any agent that knows me or any person I've dealt with, like, I am not very like reserved. I probably, there's stuff that I probably do that maybe like you wouldn't put in a textbook or handbook as like, but at the end of the day, like, I really try to act myself, meaning if you see me here on the podcast, or you see me at a networking event, if you see me in front of clients, I'm doing the same stuff. Like, and I found that my business I've had way more fun doing what I've been doing over the last couple of years because I've just like allowed myself just to be myself. But then also, like, I think that people genuinely like that, meaning like when you're talking to the kids, like how you would normally if you weren't in a business setting, if you took off the suit and you were just sitting there hanging out with them shooting the shit, or they were working on your car, you wouldn't be talking like sales. You'd be saying the same thing about which kid went over the dirt bike first, and I think that goes a long ways because it drops that level of you need professionalism, but you gotta be you got to break that wall. Meaning, you got to, like you said, like you got to adapt to the person you're talking to, and once they hear you start saying something like that, it's instantly like
they're like, all right, he can.
The guard is dropped.
He can relate.
Yeah, now
because I roll up within a suit. A lot of times, not full suit, but I'll mismatch the pants and jacket, and people are like, okay, what are you here? You're here to either. We're here to. What kind of money?
Sell me something.
Sell me something. Are you a lawyer? Who's in trouble? Are you the IRS? Are you the FBI? Are you this? Are you that? But then you can instantly you got to be able to relate. And being from the North Country it really helps that. And I credit a lot of that to my first job at Freedom Fence. I did 3 summers at Freedom Fence, and we would talk about stuff that 10 guys putting up fence poles and digging holes all day are going to talk about.
Yep.
There's going to be some stuff in that diesel mechanic shop or that construction garage, that trucking and
brings you right back.
Yeah, they're they're talking about a lot of that same stuff. So being able to relate and just when I don't come off as salesy and trying to just push something on them, push a product on them, they're just comfortable and they're opening up, and then next thing you know, we're talking about where they're slugging beers this weekend. So it's great. So that's kind of a typical day. I'm just always out on the road, just out building relationships and working on a lot about trying to set up financial literacy presentations as well. I know we touched on this earlier.
Yeah, because you did one for a local group of kids. So.
Yeah, I did one at Clinton Community College a couple weeks ago, and right now I've got about 7 or 8 lined up for Seniors Against Fraud at different with the Senior Nutrition Center. The Senior Citizen Council of Clinton County and the nutrition program that I go to, kind of like a lunch and learn, and we just talk about basic fraud. What's out there, how to avoid it, and things of that nature. So. But I'm working on getting to some of the local high schools to get into the classroom, teaching kids about what they're not getting taught and those life skills of budgeting. Back on that topic, I guess, budgeting, saving, debit cards, credit cards, credit score, how credit score affects a lot more than you ever thought. So that's also a big part of my job is I'm out on the road trying to set those up and also performing those.
Yeah, or not opening up a credit card. Because a lot of kids don't know or don't realize too that if you don't have a credit card, you have no credit.
Yes, and if you don't have a credit card, and the importance of start establishing credit early, and we dive right into the 5 major factors that affect your score the most, and we talk about, like you touched on earlier, compound interest and interest on. So this is how this works, Junior. You want that car, okay? So we're taking out a loan for. $5,000 over 5 years at 5%. So let's do the math on that. Oh, how much is this car going to cost? Well, I'm taking it for $5,000. With interest though, that's going to cost us an extra $250 a year. So we're going to be at $1,250. So for the course of interest over the 5 years. So now that $5,000 car, if we make our monthly payments, the minimum monthly payment for 5 years is going to cost us $6,250. And just kind of getting kids to kind of grasp that concept of interest and how that works, and just kind of how ways to decrease interest, whether you decrease principal, decrease time, or decrease your rate, which gets tied back into, okay, better rate, better credit score. I save more and budget more, I have more money, I get to decrease my principal. So we dive, I like to dive pretty good into that with them and try to relate, relate to my audience about how, hey, so you guys are getting out, you just got your first job, you want that cool Jeep, that $50,000-$60,000 Jeep, you want to put 22s on it, you want to put a lift kit on it, you want to tint it. Okay, just remember, you also need to keep a roof over your head, you also need to keep food in your stomach, you also may want to live, have a good time here and there. You also need to do, put away 10% for you and, build up a little bit of a nest egg, and also, everything else that just life entails.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm glad you're doing that, because I think it's nice.
I love doing it.
Well, I think that's cool about you too is you can still relate to a lot of guys that are kids. Like, you come in as a younger guy and you're talking to kids that maybe they're within 10 years of you. That goes a long ways versus getting someone that's their parents' age coming in. And like, okay, well, here we're listening to mom or dad kind of talk. And I think I've always gravitated towards when I do the things with the kids, like the career day, like me being, for most of those kids, take 15 years older, but they still look at you like you're not super old, Right. So it's kind of cool. Like if you go to college, you're, they're 5-6 years behind you, but it's you have perfect. You can really relate to them, and they can look at you and say, yeah, okay, this guy I can trust because he just went through the same stuff we're going through, and you can actually back it up and say, yeah, I went through this, and here's some wisdom for you guys from about 5-6 years down the road, and that's great. I think the more you can do that, the better it's gonna be for so many kids.
And a lot of 98% of what I talked about I've learned through just life as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even education. I learned about I taught myself a lot about credit scores and credit cards and how to effectively use a credit card. Because my parents were always great with, okay, get yourself a credit card, never carry a balance, never get yourself a credit card debt. And I really, adhered to their advice on that, and then dove in even deeper and really learned about it. Those were things I also did learn even in post-education as well in college. And those were just things that you learn just getting through life and living life.
Yeah. I've been, knock on wood, I've gone 29 years. I've never had credit card debt. I have.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've never missed payments. I've never it's just something. But you said it's like live within your means, and
that's the number one rule of my presentations: live below your means.
Live
below your means.
Yeah.
Everything ties back into the number one rule: living below your means.
Yep. Great.